Hi and welcome to Rod TV. Today I'm going to show you how to put on wraps for your guides and some 4-turn tippings, and let me just show you the tools I'm going to be working with today. I have just a pretty basic, simple rod stand that I can rest my rod on. For my thread tension device, I got a measuring cup with my thread in it. I'm going to be using antique gold, maple silk, and for my tippings I'm going to be using gossamer and black. And my thread tension device is one book in between two, and that's the tension I'm going to use. And I'm going to show you how to put the wraps on and the tippings on. I'm going to start this wrap off by wrapping my tag end around 2 full turns around this blank. Now what I'm trying to accomplish is about 4 wraps before I go up the ramp of this guide foot. So there should be 4 wraps approximately before I start traveling up here. I'm going to start my thread over the top of the blank, wrap it around 2 full times. I'm going to hold on to this tag end, and I'm going to start my jam knot to start my wrap. I'm going to do that by pushing this thread over that one wrap that's right next to it. And there's my jam knot. And now I'm just going to keep continuing around and those 2 wraps, and that should hold my knot. And there we go. Now I got 3 wraps. I got my tag end under all 3. And right now I'm just going to take a minute and I'm going to square this up, make it nice and neat before I continue up the guide foot. If I get a little slack, I can always just tug on that tag end and it'll firm things up for me. Alright, so right about there is about 4 wraps. I just want to make sure I don't cross over any threads. Use my burnishing tool to keep it square. And right about now I'm going to hold my tag end tight and make one last adjustment in my start. And I'm going to take a pair of scissors and I'm going to trim my tag nice and flush, and I'm just going to grab it. I'm going to hold it perpendicular to the blank, maybe back a little bit, and I'm going to hold my scissors up against the blank and give it a quick little snip, and that should pretty much tuck that little nub underneath that last wrap. And now I'm just going to continue my wrapping, and I'm going to pack this as I go. If your spirals, you're starting to spiral, you can move the blank side to side. Try to get that thread about approximately 90 degrees off of the blank, and that should put your wraps right up against each other. And once you get going, it goes pretty quick. Wrap a few times around the blank and then pack your threads together. And a few more rotations, and I'm going to put in a loop to tie off my knot. Right about here is probably a good place to put one in. For my loop, I'm just going to use just a piece of thread that I've been using, and I'm going to just fold it over and make a loop, and I'm just going to work it in between the thread and the blank, just like that. Make sure your loop's in the right direction. Always make sure you're pulling the thread through. And then just continue up the guide. Don't worry too much about little spaces. You can just burnish them out, flatten the silk out, and they'll disappear. Alright, that looks like that should do it. Now to tie it off, all I'm going to do is apply some pressure on the wrap so I can put some slack in my thread, because I'm going to cut it. And it doesn't come unraveled because I'm just pushing down with my thumb. I'm going to take my tag end and I'm going to work it through the loop. Sometimes that's the trickiest part of the whole wrap. Alright, I got it through the loop. Now I'm just going to pull it tight, and I can free my other hand, and I'm going to grab the tag end of my loop, and I'm going to slide it in right until my thread just about, or does actually jam up against that last wrap. I can let go of that, move my hand, and apply pressure back to my wrap, and with a little bit of pressure there, I'm just going to yank that loop with my free hand. And that's the completed wrap. I'm going to leave this tag end ready. I'm going to trim that last. I'm just to make sure it's all packed tight and even with no gaps. And I can rub it down. And that there is a completed wrap. What I'm going to do next is I'm going to show you how to put a 4-turn tipping on there next time. Thank you.